Welcome to this channel. So in the past 100 years or so, in Chinese Kung Fu, magic power, mind power, magic energy is a hot topic. And so there are many of our Kung Fu friends and other martial art friends often asking me, are those things real? So upon request of our friends, today I'm sharing with you Chinese Kung Fu is not magic. No martial art style is magic. Now, we need to know that when we look into a martial art system, we need to base on historical evidence and science. Because only historical evidence and science will be able to tell us the truth and show us the limitations. This is a must. Not rely on some kinds of hearsays or speculations. Now, it is very critical, very crucial to know historical evidence and science, because one can get result from what is possible, and things can continue to improve. Say, if we have the record or the history records of a martial arts, which is the historical evidence, and we can verify the practice of the historical evidence with science, then we know what is possible, and we also can know what is the limitations of this particular system, and thus we can improve it. On the other hand, we can drop what is never possible. If there is no historical record, because there's no historical record, there is no statistics. We don't even know what it is. And there's no way we can verify it with science. It's like those chi power. So what is chi power? Show me in history, by evidence, who have developed this. And how is it can be validated or verified with science? If it is just hearsay, like, oh, this grandmaster say this grandmaster teach this in the past, but nobody really ever using in the battlefield, like Qi Guang. And whatever being said on this magic stuff is never validated by science. So you know those kind of stuff is extremely likely is never possible. So, historical evidence and science is extremely important. It is not that like today or in the past 100 years, people just claim that I'm the student of this guy, I'm the student of this grandmaster, and then it end up is the grandmaster is actually a promotion of the student, and then turn around the student using the grandmaster to promote themselves. So it turns out that it is a marketing scam. So first we promote our teacher, and then we use our teacher's grandmaster title to promote ourselves. Well, that is a scam. That will never give you historical evidence and science. Okay? So, today we have the H and Q model. This is the H model. We have the sport science like the heart rate zone, in the model, we have the training goals. Like, what are you training? Are you training fighting, or are you deep recovery or conditioning? And physiological state is like, what are you doing? If you're in fighting, for sure you need to have a full accelerated impulse momentum handling states, which is over here, Z5, which is in the anaerobic. Okay, so this is aerobic, this is anaerobic. So this is the H model. On the other hand, we have the general Qi Ji Guang, the Q model. We have the principle and the 4-level model, which we know how martial arts supposed to be developed from the functional training up to the momentum combination skill, which one need to develop if one is a skillful martial artist. So with this tool, we can practically analyze any martial art system today and have a good idea on what it can be done. Is it possible or it is not possible? Okay. So we will have a very good idea with this tool model to analyze, to evaluate martial art systems or the skill of any particular so-called grandmaster. So this is a science. With this science, nobody can cheat. And I'm really happy to announce that this H and Q model is made in Silicon Valley, because this is based on engineering method of modeling. Like in engineering, we model things so that we be able to really fast, really accurately to see what is going on. Okay, so this is tool model now we can use because we have it. And of course, anybody want to know the details on this thing can go to all this book which I have wrote in Amazon.com. Okay, because every one of this book is related to this in the details. If one don't need the book, one just have to simply ask questions on this tool model, and one will be able to see things very accurately. Okay. Now, we need to know the universal truth of martial arts, disregard of any martial arts, disregard of it is 1,000 years ago or now. As soon as we have the history record, we be able to see that any type of art, is it possible or it is impossible, or what is the strength and what is the weakness, or what is the advantage or disadvantage, so forth, so forth. Now, the first truth is every martial art style depends on the practitioner's body condition. Every martial art style depends on the practitioner's body condition. So it doesn't matter if you learn techniques, say kicking techniques, or a punching techniques, or a ground fighting techniques. It doesn't matter. What matter need to support is the body condition. A weak person or a sick person, disregard he or she is training in Western boxing or Chinese Kung Fu or Judo or Jiu-Jitsu or Thai boxing or Kyokushinkai, you know that the capability of this person is not going to be high up there because his body conditions is weak. So every martial art styles depend on the practitioner's body condition. The same techniques. The guy who have a good body condition perform it, and the guy who have a weak body condition perform it. It is sky and earth difference. Okay? Now, the second truth is there's no perfect or best martial art styles. No style up to today cover everything. None. Okay? So in the next upcoming slides I'm going to share with you, you can actually verify thing and look into thing with the H&Q models and scientifically know exactly, okay, what is going on. The third truth is there's no magic technique, no magic energy. There is no magic technique that one learn it and then one suddenly become like a superhero. And there is no magic energy that one use their mind to think and then they have this energy. There's no such thing, because everything is depend on the practitioner's body conditions and the momentum handling of that particular style. So no magic, everything is blood and sweat. The truth, number 4, is not everyone can be fighter. It is contrary to what the promotion in martial arts schools today, that, if you learn this style, you can be a fighter. No, that is not the truth. The truth is one need to know one's health and one's age and one's life, meaning that the daily living, what is one doing. So not everyone can be fighter. One can pay $100,000 US to a grandmaster, and still, if one have a weak health or one is 80 years old, he's not going to be a fighter. Okay? Or if one don't have time to train, they will not become a fighter. That's just reality. Okay. The truth number 5, fighter has to pay a price, and not everyone can afford to do so. Look at those who really compete in the ring. See what price they have to pay in terms of their physical health and body condition, and sometimes even their mental health. Not to mention the injury and all kinds of stuff, or later on having emotional problem or those kind of stuff. So fighter has to pay a price. Fighter such as what we see today promote fighting in the ring and so forth, they live a different life. They live a really different life compared with most of us. The last truth is everyone have to face aging, sickness, and daily life, daily living. So it is not a kung fu movie. You go to a temple and then you learn this secret, and then you are a grandmaster here on. Or you go to learn from a grandmaster, then you become a Superman here on. There's no such thing. So this is the truth of martial art. This is universal truth. Make sure one know this clearly before one get into martial arts. Now, as we mentioned here, we can analyze any style or any grandmaster and also ourselves, and we can evaluate ourselves or the style. This is how to do it. For here, it said that how much does the martial art system or style cover? So if you look at a martial art style, you want to know how much this style is covered. As in my previous video, I explained already clearly on this Q model and then this H model. So here, with a brief, we say that this is the fighting part. This is the health part. So when you look at a martial arts system, you look at that. How comprehensive is this fighting part? It's covered. How comprehensive? Also, how comprehensive is the health part that particular system cover? If the system is only cover the fighting part, even if it is extremely comprehensive but not the health part, you know that one might have to pay a price in the long run on their health. Because a lot of training here, when it is not balanced by the health part, like in today's sports science, training and recovery, not balanced, you know it is going to very possible cause health problem. Okay? Now, if this fighting part is only partial or just showing some techniques, you know that it doesn't cover this fighting part. So those martial art really is not that useful. You can use it for exercise, but not for fighting. Same thing in the health part. If one's martial art is only cover this internal but have never cover this fighting parts, one know those are not martial arts. Those are just health exercise or fitness training. And if one just only talk about philosophy here, like the Taoist philosophy, this philosophy, that philosophy, but have no processes to develop any skill here, then you know those stuff is just empty talk. So with this Q and H model, you can see everything here clearly. And with just this, you can analyze, you can look into any particular martial art style or any grandmaster, see what is their teaching, and you know what they are as they are. So with the Q and H model, it is this clear now. Disregard of it is Chinese, Kung Fu, or any martial art, you just look at it. So it is like the consumer. When we buy a product, we now have a specifications. We can read into what is in that product and what are we buying. Is it what we want? Or is the product actually back up the claim in marketing or advertisement? Now, with the Q and H model, ask, what is your body condition? What Kung Fu have you developed? We all know that the bottom line scientifically in this fighting part, disregard of you are claiming 1,000 years ago Chinese martial arts or today's MMA, it is based on muscular and cardiovascular endurance. Okay? So one asks, what is one's measurement on muscular and cardiovascular endurance? Well, you can measure, quantize and measure today. The second thing in this fighting part is the accelerations and speed. Like this is using an exogeny, like the sport man who is training in running to train the acceleration and speed. So again, asking one's condition, what type of acceleration and speed can one handle? Again, scientifically, you can measure that. The third thing is your VO2 max, which is an important important point, data point in your body condition, in a sportsman's body condition. So to have a good fighting skill, one need to have this. So without this, forget about good fighting skill. One can learn all those fighting techniques, but without being able to have this body condition to support it, it means nothing. So anybody who is claimed as the top fighter and so forth, of course, if they are real, they're going to pass this with a really high level grade. Okay? Disregard your Chinese Kung Fu or MMA or whatever. Just look into that. Now, on the health part, it is your heart rate handling, and also your breathing handling, and also your heart rate variability. So anybody who claim that they are internal or they have this magic power or whatever, it's very simple. You just get them to measure their heart rate, see how, in this case, you can drop your heart rate from 76 down to 61 and get it stay around 60, drop 15 points. And then the breathing, you can drop from 13 down to 6. And then you look at the heart rate variability. You can know their status in their health and also how good they can handle this stuff. Breathing, heart rate variability. You get those really Qigong master or really meditator, the real one, like the great or the level type of guru, which is you're doing research in Harvard. They always can pass this and can handle this with flying colors. Okay? So this is the bottom line. Okay? So anybody who practice martial art, ask what is the muscular cardiovascular endurance, what is the acceleration and speed, because you need to handle your momentum, you need this. And then what is your VO2 max? Well, you need to have the stamina to do your job in this really high intensity momentum or momentum combination handling job here. And also here, when you want to get to recovery, you need to be able to drop your heart rate, your breathing rate, put yourself into deep recovery or to nurture qi, or quiet your mind or deep breathing. And then, of course, your heart rate variability, you can increase it. So, but today, the H model and Q model, okay, which is based on this thing, it is scientific stuff. Nobody can cheat and everything is fair for everybody because it is a science. It treats everybody the same. Science do not care if one is a grandmaster or not a grandmaster, or whether one practice Kung Fu or MMA. So this is what scientifically we can back up that every martial art style depends on the practitioner's body condition, and there's no perfect or best martial art style. Just check it out with this. And of course, from here we know that, like this principle, it is a continuous learning. So there's no such thing as one size fit all, or you have the ancient truth which is cover everything. Okay, there are no such thing exists in this world. Now, with the Q and the Q and the H model, we can also look into, is Kung Fu fake? Like these days, many people saying Kung Fu is fake. Well, just look into the Xi Xiaodong case. Xi Xiaodong versus the Tai Chi guy, the Wing Chun guy. What happened technically using H and Q model, you can see clearly. You just look at this. Okay, Xi Xiaodong, well, he have this thing. He have, because he practice MMA stuff, he have a good momentum handling here. Over here, you look at evaluate him. When he talk, he have to clear his throat. You know that there is a question mark here, but he's good here. You look at the Tai Chi Lei Lei, you know he have no idea on the momentum handling. So Tai Chi guy is only doing thing here. Like other Tai Chi guy which is fighting him is always here. You look at the Wing Chun guy, the Ding Hao is really partial here. That's why he cannot handle Xi Xiaodong's this 3D momentum play. When Xi Xiaodong get close and so forth, he cannot handle. He just Ding Hao will be only good at partial of one of the aspects. It's clear like that. You look at the Ding Hao's teacher, like Yi Changhua. You see Yi Changhua fighting that one-arm fighter. He has no idea how to handle this thing. You look at the same like this Lu Gang, this pressure point guy who claimed that he's a Wing Chun guy and so forth. Also, he do not have a picture, or he doesn't know what happened in the fighting is about momentum. So only Ding Hao have partial. Of course, you're going to lose to Xi Xiaodong. Okay? So there's the reality. So, is Kung Fu fake? Well, we know that based on this model, the H and Q model, because the H and Q model is developed from Kung Fu 460 years ago, to be specific, okay? And then you just using 460 years ago's Qi Shi Guang's model, and then today's sports science model, and the Wing Chun 1850s model, you build this. So you know that Kung Fu, Chinese Kung Fu is not fake. But the people who fight Xi Xiaodong never up to that level of training. It never have this comprehensive training. So we know there is the truth. Scientifically, based on science and based on historical evidence. So with this, we can evaluate many things. We can evaluate ourselves. The most important thing is so that we be able to evaluate ourselves. We know who we are. And we know what we need to improve. Because this model is built so that we can improve ourselves. That's the most important thing. Evaluating other people is not that important. The important is how to look at ourselves so we can improve. Because only we improve ourselves bring benefit to ourselves when we practice martial arts. And we also know how to avoid things. Say our VO2 max and so forth is low here and we don't have handling here. Now we know that we are not supposed to go practice this high intensity stuff in the anaerobic. We can only get here, okay? The recover here. We cannot go to full accelerations. So this is the notion for the Q and H model. Now, the one thing we want to go through is Shaolin Kung Fu is not to hurt others or to show off on who is number one. There is a Shaolin moral code here, okay? Anybody in Shaolin, when they practice Kung Fu, that's only for their self-defense or to helping others. Anybody, one must not use one skill for the purpose of seeking to prevail over others. Violating of this is breaking the law. That is the code of ancient Shaolin martial arts, okay, the code, moral code. And also, people today talk about this Zen, that Zen, that Zen, and then Shaolin this and Shaolin that. So look into the real thing. This is the Shaolin writing. It is said that one must not have hatred in their heart while practicing Shaolin Kung Fu. No hatred, no emotion, okay? Stay cold. And then, if you look at the Zen Buddhism, because Shaolin is under the Zen Buddhism. So let's look into somebody real. This is Master Xu Yin or Grandmaster Xu Yin, who is the Zen Patriarch of China, 1948. Okay? So this is the well-known Zen Patriarch of China. This is a Venerable Master Hua. He is a student. This is Miss Ananda Jennings. She is from California, United States. This is a picture taken in China, 1948. Okay? Late Master Hua later come to America, reside in California, and this is his teaching. Okay? As soon as you throw the first fist or kick the first foot, you are no longer my disciple on spot. You may not use this. I will give you a secret Dharma that you can use to protect yourself. The secret Dharma is called the Four Unlimited Mind: kindness, compassionate, joy, and equanimity. Okay? So there is a real Zen Buddhism and Shaolin teaching. So Kung Fu, Shaolin Kung Fu is not as what people thought today. You go compete, become number one in fighting, or you can beat this guy, beat that guy, or talking with your hand, not talking with your mouth, or you have to be really in hatred mode when you play your martial art. Those are nonsense. None of those are Shaolin. None of those are Zen. Okay, so this is the real thing. You can check it with the history. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, the reason why all this Shaolin set all this moral code is to prevent people get into trouble, to watch out. And also, the key is to help people. If one be kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity to everybody, then the chances of getting into big trouble with other people is less. And even if one get into a confrontation and so forth, one can solve it without get into violence and aggressions. The minute one promote this hatred and all those kind of thing, or bully, or want to prove who is number one, you know it's trouble. It already causing trouble or looking for trouble. So seriously, many of today's martial art promotions, like, oh, my style is the best style. This is the best style. This can beat this style, that style. Those are actually not teaching one to deal with a real life in a peaceful and constructive way. Those are actually looking for trouble. Okay? So this is the reality. And it doesn't mean that Shaolin Kung Fu, as what I share mapping into this H and Q model in the previous video, do not have the real deal. But real deal is a technology. Real deal is not used to create problem for the society and actually for oneself. What is good to learn a martial art to create problem for oneself? Okay? There's no good at all. So this is what I like to share with you today. Chinese Kung Fu is not magic. No martial art style is magic. And sorry, there's no Superman. Okay? Martial art is a good science that we can learn that we can help ourselves, help others get healthier, and do all kinds of positive stuff. But it is not something for showing off or thinking it's magic. This is to share with you today.